Welcome to the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. The Louie Bellina Show, Thursday. Let me share how we're going to do between now and 2 o'clock. At 11:35, I got to listen in. Trisha Ford, A&M softball head coach. She will preview A&M LSU SEC play begins. It's the odd series, and what that means exactly, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Every weekend in SEC softball play, there's an offset series. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just like baseball, that's the norm in softball. But there's always one series that goes Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and that's for the SEC network to have Monday night softball. A&M LSU is that series this weekend. A&M softball head coach Trisha Ford, 11:35, will preview A&M LSU. I don't know if you know, maybe you don't know, because not everyone knows everything about A&M softball. A&M LSU has been in the past a really nice rivalry in softball. Long before A&M joined the SEC, Aggie softball, LSU softball butted heads a lot in the postseason. You can imagine why. They were close enough to bust, and that had always been the law of the land for postseason softball. A&M had went to Baton Rouge. They'd hooked up in regionals and supers, and they just met a little too often. And it was not always the most friendly. So when A&M and LSU play each other, it always feels a little bit different. And I think that's true of every sport anyway. So that, on top of it's just LSU, I'm quite excited to get SEC play underway. At 12 o'clock today on the Louie Bellina Show, I sit inside the Charles Schwab studio. Cedric Golden of the Austin American Statesman. Him and I talk Longhorns, and we talk Aggies, and definitely we're talking NFL today. Free agency has been a wild ride. The Cowboys are trading away players and have not touched the top-end free agents despite opening up cap space. Cedric Golden, 12 o'clock. 1:00, or as you call it, 1 o'clock. Rusty Burson, he's an Aggie historian and author, will join me on the D4 Land Services hotline, and that's where most guests join me. Cedric will be on the D4 Land Services hotline. Rusty and I, heavy doses of maroon and white. We're going to talk Major League Baseball. Hey, Josh Hader, closer for the Astros. He's going to start the year on the IL. I'm so shocked. I would say that's the least surprising sports headline I've seen this year. It'll probably be the least surprising sports headline I see this year. Hey, water is wet, fire is hot. He's going to want to talk Rangers. I'm cool with that. Maybe even some Dallas Stars. Rusty Burson, 1 o'clock on the D4 Land Services hotline. 2 more things for you. Thursday's big. I hope you're ready. You can text me your questions, comments, and opinions. You can text Cedric or Rusty. You can text 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You hit send. Please hit send or I'll never see it. And, I got the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox, and that's where all the text messages congregate. I jump in and out all day long. The Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox. Texas Mobile One Lube Express, owned by Gabriel Garcia. Also on Thursday, and every day this week, we've been celebrating our own version of spring break. Call it barbecue break if you want. But each day, I've been giving away a $50 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue. Today is no different. The ticket booth, it'll open. I'll tell you when. Actually, I'll tell you when now. In the 1 o'clock hour. In our final hour, listen in. The ticket booth will open in the 1 o'clock hour, and I will give away a $50 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue. See, I told you. Let us begin. Maroon and white universe, and we're all living in it. A&M basketball SEC tournament, 8:30 tonight. They will take on Oklahoma, the Sooners, for the third time. Bucky, when he had his media day to kick the week off, was asked about how hard is it to beat a team for the third time. Bucky, of course, has the most perfect answers in the world. He straight up said, we're not beating them for the third time. We just have to beat them that night. Brilliant answer. Brilliant. I do. Brilliant answer. A&M, both times they played Oklahoma, has obviously been the better team. They've had trouble finishing them, destroying them. Oklahoma, I think the word scrappy applies. Tonight, 8:30, Oklahoma, last night, SEC tournament, beats South Carolina. They advance. A&M OU for the third time. Oklahoma, in the Joe Lunardi, as of 1 o'clock this morning, bracketology, is on the next four out. They would need to beat A&M, and they would jump out of next four out to first four out. They would need that win against Arkansas in the next round, and it wouldn't move them off of the next four out bubble. They kind of need, counting tonight, 3 wins would maybe. They're deep on the dark side of the bubble. So they're playing for their NCAA tournament hopes, and they got to make a deep run, not just a couple more wins, probably 3. A&M, they're in. They can lose tonight and they're in. It's funny, as each day has went by, people are saying one more win. People all want to make a run. I'm of the rest is good mindset. Logan Lee, Tuesday when he joined me, former player, A&M basketball, former coach at A&M and Kentucky basketball, Logan Lee, he made it like crystal clear. If you play, you win. Compete, go. I'm going to go with something, and you've heard me probably say this. I know the football, I've said this, and I think, help me here, I said this with Schlosh, but in X, I trust. Bucky has given me no reason to doubt any plan, any strategy, anything he's done. The only thing I would put into, okay, Lou, be hypercritical. You seem to be an expert at it. You seem to like doing it. The only 2 things the entire year that I wonder, as far as Buckyball decisions go. 1, scheduling 3 games in the first 5 days with players not used to that pace, tempo. That Oklahoma State game, I think, was a mistake. And the in-season usage of Pop taking so long, not the stardom part, because starter, off the bench, minutes are controlled differently. You don't have to start. But when Pop had the hot hand, he seemed to get pulled based upon some pre-designed rotation system. And also there were times where Pop had the cold hand. He just seemed to be left in because his group was in. Those are the only 2 things I can think of all year in relation to Buckyball Aggie hoops that I go, not so sure about that. Everything else, every button pushed. And it doesn't mean every time it worked, but if you push 10 buttons and 8 or 9 of them are lighting up, you're pretty damn good. You can't, nobody goes 10 for 10. So anyway, if Bucky thinks the best thing for his team is to win the whole thing and play 4 games in 4 days, and that's what gets his team ready for the NCAA tournament, in Bucky we trust. I just know Sean Agee, man. One of the things I'm looking at tonight, I want to see how fresh or not fresh he looks after 47 minutes in Baton Rouge on Saturday, where he did one of the greatest Warriors games we've seen. And I don't mean Golden State. I'm talking about his performance. And he missed tons of shots. He had no legs, but his performance was incredible. Tonight, 8 o'clock pregame, somewhere about 8:30 tip. You can listen to A&M Oklahoma over on News Talk 1620, 94.5, WTAW, online at radioaggieland.com. Updated bracketology. Like I said, I think it was like 1 o'clock this morning, Joe Lunardi, a man who never sleeps in March. That's kind of fun. That's the madness. A&M, no bubble, still a 9 seed. I guess they're sliding around the 9 seed because they're now paired with the number one Duke. They would play the Ohio State as the 8. A&M 9, the Ohio State 8. Winner would play the number one Duke in the latest bracketology. If you want to know the bubble, last 4 byes, NC State, USF, Santa Clara, and Texas. I have no idea. I don't know the power, the magic of Texas other than their name. But all year, Longhorn Hoops has absolutely confused me how they've stayed so right of the bubble despite being so mediocre. Last 4 in, Mizzou, first team on that line. VCU, SMU, SMU, and Auburn flip-flopped with Indiana because, well, flip-flop means flip-flop. Auburn's now the last four in, last team. Indiana's now the first team out on the first 4 out line. And I mentioned it. Auburn, deep on the dark side of the bubble. Not Auburn, Oklahoma, OU, the Sooners, who the Aggies play tonight. They're the second team on the next 4 out bubble. We continue. Well, no. Before we do. 11 bracketology, Lenardi. 11 teams in from the SEC, 9 from the Big Ten. Those 2 teams leading the way. 8 from the SEC, 8 from the Big 12. Aggie basketball note, Anderson Garcia got pulled up by the Utah Jazz, 10-day contract. Here's his stat line from last night. 6 points, 9 boards. That's a hell of a debut. Maroon and White Universe, Aggie Baseball. Tomorrow, 11:35 here on the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. We'll have the Michael Early listening. He's going to meet with the media lunchtime today. He'll preview OU. Boy, Aggie Sooners hoops on a Thursday. Aggie Sooners baseball Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. The opening weekend SEC play for Aggie baseball. Took a look. College baseball writers say Aggies are 17. Baseball America says 19. USA Today says 20. D1 Baseball says 22. That's how they enter the weekend. We will start gathering our data points on Friday. This team will start defining itself, but it's a long SEC season. Took a look. I like things like this. There's basic analytics, advanced analytics, Dave Bart 2 college football matrix analytics, college football. We're moving along in the Maroon and White notebook. I do believe that returning starters means something. The future of analytics is how do you integrate portal? Because if a guy started at his old program, it doesn't mean he started at your program, but he still was a starter, and that experience needs to be accounted for in starts. But it doesn't currently when you see people talk about starters. And that's a mistake because starting experience is what counted. But if you get credit for 1 unit of a starter, that was together in the system with that program. So it's not a full unit. There's got to be a way to quantify this because the transfer portal is not the same as retaining a starter, but it's better than a kid that has not started at all, and we haven't figured out analytically how to account for this yet. A&M, I saw the CBS Sports, which teams return the most starters in 2026. And A&M only returns 9 total. 4 offense, 5 defense. And in the olden days, pre-NIL, pre-portal, that would be a sign of doom and destruction. If you return 9, you knew you were in for a rebuild year and it was doomed. But when we take a look just what A&M's doing on the O-line, and they had to replace 4, and they bring in 4 SEC experience, all starters in the SEC, that's not the same as, well, these guys have been in the program 2 to 3 years and they're all going to be making their first starts in the... No. So how do you quantify the learning curve, adjustment, so forth? They've never played with each other. They've never played in the A&M system. All have started in the SEC. There's some kind of difference than we're used to. That's the difference in the college football world. That's why it doesn't take 3 years anymore to turn a program around. So returning 9 starters today is not even the same it was 5 years ago. That's why, and returning starters and also O-line, D-line experience for some of the original stat heads used to be like God mode prediction of success and failure. It's not the same. It's not the same. But yeah, and by the way, just the returning starters of 9 is well below average for P4. USC returns 15, and I still sleep well knowing that Lincoln Riley will screw it up. Here's one of those that scares you. Okay, scares me. Georgia returns 14. And knowing Georgia's development, and they pick and choose the portal, but yet they have 14 returning, that catches my attention. Yet, I think they've had college football playoff team the past 2 years, yet I feel like they've underachieved the past 2 years because at Georgia, you don't win a national championship, but yet they also just haven't even made a deep run, have they? But returning 14 caught my attention for Georgia. That was one of those where I went, oh boy. Notre Dame returning 14 ties into, I think they're a lock for the playoff. If I had to put money on one team and you only get to pick one team and you had to put your last $100, I think Notre Dame's a lock for the playoff this upcoming season. But I also, if I could pick one team for the Final Four semifinals already, it would be Notre Dame too. Not saying I think they're the best team, best path. Returning 14 starters. One of the top 3, everything I see. I also see that I need to take a timeout. We will continue this discussion. A&M Football inside the maroon and white notebook, your text messages and more. We're just beginning. This is the Louie Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio, Thursday on The Zone.
Your home for Texas A&M football is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone. The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric on a Thursday. 11:35, Trisha Ford listening. 12 o'clock, Cedric Golden of the Austin American Statesman. 1 o'clock, Rusty Burson, Aggie historian, and the ticket booth will open somewhere in the 1 o'clock final hour. The ticket booth will open thanks to Dixie Tire Company. We're beginning our day, and basically I'm telling you right now, our entire first hour together, maroon and white universe, and we're all just going to live in it. Just mention Aggie basketball, Oklahoma, some early thoughts. Aggie baseball rankings across the various polls, anywhere from, what was it? 17 to 22, depending on who you believe in. And, of course, Aggie football, the list of most returning starters with the USC, but they have Lincoln Riley. He's -10 for all returning starters. And then you have Aggie football at 9, which is, they have 9, which is well below, but returning starters used to kind of almost be the most simplified, easiest stat to indicate success. But with the new portal NIL, you're every not starter you're returning is now not a first-time starter. Therefore, it doesn't mean the same thing. And I think A&M's O-line situation is the model example of that thought, because they're returning 1 starter. That means there's 4 new. And that would mean 4 guys who are getting their first starts. 4 guys first time in the SEC or first time in conference play. But A&M got 4 SEC starters. Okay, first time they'll all start together, first time in the A&M system, but not first time start team, not even in the league in this case. So how do you quantify? It's not the same. So A&M's 4 offensive starters they're returning. Odd, because I never have stopped to think about this stuff yet, but Marcel Reed, Bethel Roman, Craver, and Naboo. That's it. Now, do you think that Ruben Owens counts as a first-time starter? Because I know it's that technically true, but hasn't he played enough years in the system, had enough snaps? He has started when Moss has been injured. Is there a universe that you really consider Ruben Owens a new starter? Like, I mean, it says 4 offensive starters. I kind of would have to, in the Louverse, if I'm trying to calculate reality, I'd have to say 5 because Ruben Owens is a starter. He has started enough games and been in the system and had enough carries that he is starter experience. I can't put him as a not starter. So I at least have 5. I'm trying to do a realistic analysis of what to expect. In no universe, if things happen next year, would you go, well, what do you expect? Ruben Owens is a first-time starter. That would not be a realistic statement. Tight end, 1 wide receiver spot. Okay, that's going to be first time. And Isaiah Horton, see, well, he hasn't not started before. He hasn't been through the SEC before. A&M, with who Elko and his staff targeted, cheat coded a lot of those problems of bringing in first-time starters for your program because they brought in SEC starters, SEC experience. Guys that, I just said have experience, but not just that SEC. Over on the defensive side, 5 starters in Des Ricks, Marcus Ratcliffe, Dalton Brooks, Damian Sanford, and TJ Searcy. And it highlights something I've said. I believe the secondary is going to be fine. If anything, they brought in maybe some upgrades overall. It's the front 7. That's a total question mark. They are the box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. And if you're weak in the front 7, your defense is dead in the water. But I didn't say they're going to be weak. I said if. Cassius Howell would be hard to replace. I don't care what you're returning. We're talking about unanimous All-American first team, NFL draft, first round NFL draft pick. Until you start spitting those out every year, it will always be hard to replace. And that's something else in my head. We're going to go into year 3. Elko's going to start establishing X number of NFL players a year. Every year, will he have multiple first 3 rounds, O linemen, NFL D linemen? Last year, starting to put the creds down on the D line. Because that's the level the program needs to be at, where every year in the NFL draft, you're getting your O-line, D-line guys in the first 3 rounds. And that's his goal. I bet if you asked him outright like that, he's like, well, of course. SEC is a line of scrimmage league. Every year we need NFL O-linemen and D-linemen if we're going to be at the level we want to be at. So it's almost like when and you know how you give programs and coaches credit. Like if Lane Kiffin gets a quarterback, in my head, that's an NFL quarterback. That's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the country. With Elko, the program will be, I expect that's his goal, that if you see them transfer portal high school, get an O or D lineman, you're like, that's a future NFL pick. That's the level he wants to be humming at, I believe. The goal to get at. Every coach would say that, but how many coaches actually achieve that? Like reality base? Moving along, by the way, 979-693-1150. Text, questions, comments, opinions, 979-693-1150. I got a text message I got to share with you. This is pretty entertaining to me anyway. It's from, of course, Roy May. Georgia returning 14 catches, starters. Okay. Georgia returning 14 catches your attention and the attention of the Georgia State Troopers. Beat the hell out of OU. Damn right, for 4 straight days, man. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Beat the hell out of OU. Or don't and maybe land a 10 seed. The optimism of it all. You know what, Roy May? I know what you mean. Like if they lost tonight with their fragility of being outside the bubble, could they slip off the 9 and slip to a 10 and then pull a 2? And it would not be the worst thing in the world if A&M moved off the 9. I'm with you on the base logic of it all, but this year's bubble has been the worst bubble in the history of bubbly. Like, and I realized this like 2 to 3 weeks ago because when A&M was slip sliding, everyone around them kept losing. And teams on the bubble right now are still losing. I don't know the history. Joe Lunardi needs to do a 30 for 30. Worst bubble ever, 2026. So A&M could lose tonight. I mean, anything's possible. And move up. I don't know. It's such a weird year on the bubble. But I like the way you think, Roy May. He goes on to say, I'm kind of good either way. Have a great Thursday, home slice. Home slice. That's OG style. Maroon and white notebook. Maroon and white universe, and we're all living in it. PFF? Nope, The Athletic. They updated. It's funny. It's a post-combine, post-Max Crosby disaster mock draft. That Max Crosby trade shook up the NFL. Then the trade getting canceled due to a failed physical. Then 2 days later, most people believe it was not a failed physical. It was buyer's remorse. I mean, this thing has escalated. This thing has got a life of its own. And I grabbed a bucket of popcorn for that show. Seriously, it might be the most fascinated I've been about the NFL in a long time. Blockbuster trade to end all blockbuster trades. Canceled due to the physical, but they knew. And then when 2 hours later, instead of Crosby, they just get the number one like D end available, who was like the number one player in the free agency. What, Henderson? And then a day later, pretty much everyone's pretty sure they knew they overpaid and it was a bad deal, so they just backed out. Oh, that's why the NFL's platinum. They're the standard. They keep themselves relevant year round. They never go away in a good way. Oh, yeah, sorry. Mocking of drafts. So the Athletic did this is awesome, post-combine, post-Crosby disaster mock draft. And they've got Cassius Howell. He's in the first round by his fingertips. He's 32 to the Seattle Seahawks. Something I was fascinated to see is, would KC Concepcion stay in the first round? Why do you say it that way, Lou? Because San Fran signed a wide receiver. They signed, with free agency. Oh, would somebody slap me? They signed Mike Evans. Yeah, I'm sitting here struggling to remember who. It's Mike freaking Evans, Hall of Famer. Aggie, Hall of Famer Mike Evans. God, I'm a moron. So now that potentially they no longer need a first-round wide receiver, that's one less wide receiver in the first round. And if you follow all the mocking of drafts kind of like I do, Mike Evans was in that like 27 slot to San Fran as the last wide receiver. Sure enough, the Athletic no longer has Concepcion in the first round, no longer going to San Fran. That's just one. But I did wonder if there would be that effect. And according to the Athletic, San Fran is not taking a wide receiver in the first round. Concepcion's dropped out. So Cassius Howell at 32 is the A&M's only selection. But that's just them. If you take a look, which I do, PFF. By the way, PFF is flying high on Aggies. Just, if you want to feel good maroon and white mock, they've got Concepcion still, and this is post-free agency opening, post-Max Crosby disaster, post-combine. PFF still has Concepcion going 27 to San Fran, but they have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Howell at 29, Chase Basantes, second round of the Cleveland Browns. Oh, man. I mean, yeah, you got drafted, but the Cleveland Browns? And in the third round, Demetrius Crownover is a New England Patriot. So PFF 3-round draft. Howell, first round, San Fran, 27. Howell, first round, 29. Chiefs. Good googly moogly. Basantes, second round Browns. Crownover, third round Patriots, according to PFF. Up next, when we come back here on the Louie Bellina Show, Thursday edition. Oh, our listening, Trisha Ford. She's going to preview LSU, Aggie softball heading to Baton Rouge. I'll be right back. It's the Louie Bellina Show on the Zone.
Your home for Aggie Baseball is the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
It is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, and community. The Louie Bellina Show. Let's see, 12 o'clock. Ooh, Cedric Golden of the Austin American Statesman on the D4 Land Services Hotline. 1 o'clock, Rusty Burson, Aggie historian and author on the D4 Land Services Hotline. And right now, o'clock, it is Trisha Ford, the A&M softball head coach, LSU preview, well, on all things Aggie softball.
Excited to obviously open up conference. Had a tough one over in San Marcos this weekend. I wish we would have played more softball games, to be honest, but weather was a factor. So now it's time to move forward and get ready to go to Baton Rouge and open up conference play. So excited to do that and get back out on the field.
So did you feel you accomplished everything you needed to do before SEC play starts, and what do you feel this team accomplished during that?
Yeah, I think there were some games that I feel like we let slip away. This weekend was one of them. Yeah, I do think, though, that we're in a good spot. I think that I understand kind of what this team looks like, how we kind of maneuver through the games, and I do feel like I'm pretty comfortable, but who's on the field and those types of things. So that's good. I think our pitching's getting better. I think, we started off this season really good, and then we had some lulls and lapses and then some bad luck, to be honest with you. And then now I feel like we're headed in a better direction. So yeah, a little bit of both, mixed bag. Yeah.
So you're frustrated. It sounds like you wish there just were more games to play. When it's a situation like that, like there's a tough loss, do you just want to be out there like immediately the next day? And do you feel like they were ready to work it out?
Yes, absolutely. I think this team really enjoys being around each other. They enjoy going out and competing. I can sit here and tell you all the reasons why I think it went the way it went, but at the end of the day, we just didn't take care of the business that we needed to. But I think, for me, with this team, us going out again and being in the same, being at the same field against the same opponents, I always say that I'll put money on us all the time. So I think for me, it was, getting us used to now as we move forward into conference play of, we have to be able to come out from day one and set the tone. We have to be able to come out day two and continue that tone. So I think that's going to be one thing that we really, I reiterate and talk to the team about quite a bit this week, of just the ability to come out and attack first and keep punching throughout the weekend.
SEC expected to be like a total gauntlet again this year. Just, I guess, what are your overall thoughts on the league going into league play?
Yeah, I just think everybody can beat everybody, to be honest with you. I think at any point in time, you saw really close games. I think overall, and especially in the SEC, you're seeing high-scoring games. I think there's no, kind of hiding that. And so I think as a pitching staff, we need to be able to withstand the punch and be able to stop the bleeding quickly. So I think that's going to be key for us is, they're going to get some hits off of you. Can we reset and regroup and get off the field quickly?
It seems like this series, 1 year goes completely one way and 1 year goes completely the other way. Do you kind of feel like a little bit of a rivalry just with LSU as a program here?
Absolutely. I think straight up there's a rivalry. I think we recruit a lot of the same kids. They try to come into Texas quite a bit. Parents can drive to LSU. So I think there absolutely is. And, I think it's good. I love rivalries, right? But you're right. We went there last time. We got swept. They came here last year. We swept them. So it's time to go there and take care of business. That's what I'm hoping what this year looks like. But I do think there's a lot of similarities between us, and I do think it's going to be in the circle that makes the difference.
Specifically looking at the way the league's shaped, you're starting the league, they're coming off getting swept, so you're going to face a little bit of a desperate team. Have you talked to your team about, as you mentioned, you think it's going to be in the circle? What else about the matchup you look at?
Yeah, so today is our first day of practice back, so I haven't, but I will address to them of just being able to come out and really have good energy and be on the offense the whole entire game. So what I mean by that is even when we're on defense, we're on offense. So meaning pitchers controlling the tempo, controlling the pace of the game. Beth is notorious for trying to control the pace of the game. When a big inning's about to happen, she'll call timeout. And so I think, our job is to, recognize it and keep the momentum on our side. So I do think it's going to be important. I think Tennessee is a really good team that they just faced, and I'm sure her messaging is like, hey, we're going back to Baton Rouge. We're going to reset. The same thing that anybody else would probably say in her situation. So I think our job, though, is to attack and attack early and often.
Y'all are 1-6 and 1-2 run games. Just what's the key there to being able to close things out?
Yeah, I'm hoping that it starts to flip our way. At some point, it has to go our way. Even in the Texas State game, I think we had, if not double digit, close to double digit, 70+ hard hit balls and just right at people. So I feel like that's how our preseason has really gone, to be honest with you. And so I just keep having faith that it's going to start to turn and go our way. So at the end of the day, you can't control the outcome. And that's really what I feel like, we're learning. And you have to be able to go up and have good at-bats. I think AK, let alone that last game, had 3 just missiles hit off of her bat, and not one of them fell. And you're like, what the heck? So, it's just, you got to keep going, you got to keep fighting, and keep your head in a good spot, because it's going to turn around, and that's really my messaging.
Defense, where do you feel your defense is at? You mentioned your pitching and your hitting.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about your?
Yeah, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. I think AK's done a good job behind the plate. She's done a good job of communicating with her pitchers. I think our infield, has been good with her as well. So I think overall, we're in a much better spot than we were, probably weekend 2 of season. So
That was A&M softball head coach Trisha Ford. I got a bonus listening. I really do. Tonight, A&M basketball, OU, third time. A&M basketball opens SEC play. We heard earlier this week, head coach Bucky McMillan. Yesterday was Rashawn Agee. Today, our bonus listen-in is Rylan Griffen, the man of the hour, the man of March, the man I think that is leading the way currently for Aggie basketball.
Rylan, how important is the SEC tournament? Because it looks like you're already in the NCAAs. So from you guys, how do you approach it?
I think it's important. You could get a lot of good wins against quality teams. So it's important from an aspect of feeling confident before the big dance. So it's very important for us.
What do you just feel like it's been clicking well for you these last couple games where you've been able to have the outputs that you've had?
My coaches and teammates challenging me. After the Texas game, Pop Isaacs called me and he told me that you can't be taking like 3 shots or playing like not aggressive and us like do what we're supposed to do. And then the day after when we had film, coach said the same thing. He kind of like called me out. He kind of challenged me to just play better and be better for the team and get out my comfort zone a little bit, do a lot of things that I haven't done in college before. So I would say them two really got me like going. It really made something click in my head and made me want to play better for the team.
Is there maybe a little bit of sense of urgency from you knowing this is kind of your last run in college as well?
Oh, definitely. You always want to have something to remember in a college season. And I feel like if we get to the tournament and do some good things in the tournament, then, it'll be something that we can be remembered for with it being, their first team with this coaching staff and stuff, and getting there, like, through all the odds is something that we can remember. So this is bigger than just this year. It's for the program and it's for our lives. Like when we're 50 years old, we want to be able to tell people that we played in the tournament and we were the first team here that he had that got there. So it's bigger than just for right now. It's for like just lives and history.
Now the regular season's over and these games become, win or go home. Have you felt some type of switch in that locker room? Has anybody kind of energy changed since this has kind of got to this point?
Definitely. I feel like there's just a will not to lose. Like, I feel like you saw it a little bit last game. There was a lot of moments where we could have crumbled. We came back, and then they made a lot of tough shots. They made a lot of big-time plays, and we could have crumbled, but we stuck with it. And we were able to come out there with a very hard-fought win. So you saw it last game, and hopefully you continue to see it. But I do think there's a sense of urgency that especially now that you win, you go home. So we should be coming out like our lives are on the line.
What's Coach been emphasizing to you all the most this week?
Just we got to stick and do what we do. We always got to play the way that we normally play, and eventually everything will pan out, even if it doesn't look pretty the first couple of minutes of the game. It'll pan out, and everything will end up happening the way it's supposed to happen as long as we do what we're supposed to do.
Any thoughts on your opponents, like either Oklahoma or South Carolina, and which one you played well against both of them? So which one you'd rather face, or any thoughts along those lines?
It doesn't really matter. We got to come out and beat whoever we play against. They're both really good teams. Both coming off 2 great wins, so both of them are hot. Oklahoma's won, I think, 7 of 8, right, or 4 or 5, something like that.
They lost to y'all.
Yeah, they haven't lost in a minute, so they're really, really hot. Those are dangerous teams in March, but so is South Carolina. They got, a guard that's capable of going for 30, and so does Oklahoma. So if you have teams like that you're playing against, they're both going to be really, really tough opponents. So we know that either way it goes tomorrow when they play, that it's going to be a tough opponent. We're going to have to bring our best game on Thursday night.
You were the one that dubbed Rashawn Mr. All-SEC back in January, I think. Just what it mean to you guys for y'all to see him get that kind of accolade?
Oh, it means a lot. I mean, he puts a lot of work in. He does a lot of great things out there. Everybody knows we wouldn't be where we're at today without him. So it's really, really great to see he got some recognition for his fantastic play this year. He's been a good communicator. He's been one of the guys that play hard every single time. He does a lot of things for us, and he's really one of the reasons why he's probably the biggest reason why we're where we're at right now. So it's really, really great and amazing to see that he got all SEC. And I'm sure that, he has a lot to show still in the end of the season coming up.
Hey, from a teammate's point of view, what makes him so good when, he's typically going against bigger guys and things like that? Why do you think he's so productive despite, those kind of matchups?
Oh, he's just really smart. He understands the game. He knows how to play. He knows how to get people in foul trouble. He knows how to do a lot of things. He's just really smart. He knows how to make the right pass, make the right play. His instincts are good. He knows when somebody's jumping at his shot fakes. So he's able to pump fake at a very, very high level. And he's just really, really controlled and poised and comfortable. So I would say just his demeanor and just how smart he is with how much he knows the game and his experience is a big reason why he's been able to be successful against maybe taller and bigger guys. He's just smarter, and his heart, he has a bigger heart than a lot of people. So, yeah, that's pretty much why.
That was our bonus listen-in. Aggie basketball's Rylan Griffen, A&M OU 8:30, approximate. I do know this. Pregame is 8 o'clock. Tip-off, 8:30 about. And you can listen on News Talk 1620 94.5. Also, that's WTAW. Also at RadioAgland.com. I'll be right back. And we got to wrap up our first hour together. Time flies when you live in the maroon and white universe. This is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. CC Electric, have free estimates, and they also have military and veteran discounts. This is the Louie Bellina Show, Thursday on The Zone.
Bryan College Station's home for champions with March Madness, the Super Bowl, and the College World Series. The Zone. 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
The Louie Bellina Show. At 12 o'clock, Cedric Golden of Lost American Statesman. At 1 o'clock, Rusty Burson, Aggie historian, both on the D4 Land Services hotline. And okay, we got like 2 minutes left. And just a quick inside the life of Lou. Yesterday, I went ahead and got the new iPhone. I'm not one of those first technology, what do they call them? Not responders, but adapters. I'm just a whatever guy. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But when they came out yesterday, was the perfect scenario for me to switch. There's about 4 different reasons. My phone, technologically speaking, was, if I waited any longer, would be too far behind the adaption, every single patch. And also, I just got great deals. It was time. So I went and got the new iPhone. If you've ever switched over, especially being behind a bit, it takes like, 2-3 a week to get everything set right again. So ever since yesterday, I'm sitting here with 2 different phones, one in each hand, and one phone set up 80% right. The other one's now like 60% wrong, and a phone beeps and you don't know which one, and you're getting your text messages on one and your emails on the other. And the apps that I actually do use versus the ones I don't, and they're asking you for your login, but you've been auto logged in for 8 years. How the hell do you know what your password is? On my new phone, I'm now waiting for Apple support to get back to me so that, because I used the wrong password 4 times, and with Apple, they don't just get back to you. They review it and it takes 3 days. So I'm in that new phone hell before I get to be in that new phone happy place.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggie Land is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Polaris Fun Center sells and services Polaris ATVs, Rangers, Razors, Global Electric Cars, Brutus, and the Polaris Slingshot. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC. And you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone.